My co-host is Mark here with me. And Mark, how are you feeling today? And what are the guests for the
Thank
show?
you. Thank you, Tali. So welcome, dear viewers. Yes, indeed. Today we'll be discussing about very interesting topics. And here with us today, we've got very interesting guests. We've got Viktoria Roitenburd Belacortu from Spain. Victoria is a scientific researcher, PhD. She's a biochemist, naturopathic doctor, university teacher, writer and poet, and as well bilingual translator. Welcome, Victoria.
Hola.
And then, of course, today with us we have Lissette, who is a legal specialist.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we've got our expert on vertical farming, Michal Fojtik from Czech Republic. And Michal is a founder of Future Farming, first vertical farm in Czech Republic. Welcome, Michal.
Welcome and thank you.
Thank you very much. So today we'll be discussing a very interesting topics about the problems of food and what constraints there are to feed all the people on the planet. So my first question would go to Victoria. Victoria, we know that you have carefully watched the forum. So could you please provide us your feedback and also what were the most touching topics for yourself from the forum?
A mí me parece que lo más importante.
I think the most important thing about this forum is that we are now experiencing an extreme situation and we don't know exactly how to define it, but it may put an end to our chances of saving humanity and the planet. Everything may end in 6 or 14 years, not centuries. That's why it seems to me that the most important thing is to watch the forum and hear that we must all unite, each of us bringing our best contribution and make sure that our planet and our civilization is saved and that we can live for our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and so on, a prosperous and fair world, a world worthy of a human.
So I just wanted to ask for your feedback about the forum and how did you find out about it? What was your story? And because we know you reached out to us on the website, could you please tell us a little bit more about?
Of course. Well, like a lot of people, I was scrolling on TikTok and well, what happened is that I see that and I feel in my heart that we could definitely make a difference, but like it's stated, we needed to unite and to actually be able to accomplish something. I work with public assistance, which is folks who are low income. So I see the spectrum where there's need, but the government only is able to provide a certain amount, which nowadays is not enough. So when I came across the TikTok, and I was like, what is this about? And deep in my heart, I believe that, you know, like the saying it states, survival is through unity. I believe that if there's a way that we could all come together to do that, we would be able to help all these folks that are in less advantaged situations where they could do better. So that's why, and I watched the whole forum and it definitely impacted me.
Thank you, Lissette. And indeed, in order for the people to make the right decision, obviously, we all need to be informed. And that was the main purpose of organizing the Global Forum, because today, in our consumer format of society, many facts are just simply omitted and are not mentioned. And if we don't have this information, we cannot do the right decision, you know. And obviously, one of the major dangers of our today's society is the hunger. there are millions of people suffering from hunger on one hand. On the other hand, we also have the technologies that are available. So now I would like to continue our discussion and come to Michal. So what, Michal, do you think are the major constraints in implementing of the modern technologies that could help us solve the hunger problem?
It's a very hard question, but let's split it to some sub-question. In some countries, it's money, maybe a lack of technology, and in very well-developed countries, it's the main problem is laws, because the bureaucracy can stop your progress. So I think the problem is not only, we are not forcing only one problem. We have multiple problems, and it's not the same around the globe. So I think in Europe, it's laws and bureaucracy. I think in, for example, Africa, it's money. And for example, Asia, where lives most people most population lives in Asia. So the drivers which force, for example, vertical farming or modern ways of agriculture is more progress and more. It develops very fast because they have very big problems with food. So I think the Europe suffers some kind of well-being. We are good at all, and we live our lives with a lot of food. But and this is the problem which make it hard to build something great and something sustainable here in Europe. But it's not so easy to answer this question like a one word or one sentence. I hope you understand me.
Yes, absolutely. And the one of the things about the forum that problems were taken from different perspectives, different points of view, and the holistic picture of our society was brought down there. And I know that one of the reasons why vertical farming is not being so much spread around the world is high prices for electricity. And we're going to talk about this a little bit further in our conversation. And right now, I would like to ask Viktoria, what was the most significant part about the forum for you? Which part do you think was touched your heart the most, and maybe in relation to your professional experience? Why do you think people should get familiar with it, in your opinion?
Bien,
I was actually touched by several topics, not just one section, but several. Firstly, the information was very broad and very clear from my point of view, and it kind of alerted us to the real world that we are facing right now. I think it's very important for people to see themselves in a situation that is, let's say, real, and not something that is partly lied about, partly downplayed, and so on. So a very important section was the discussion and accurate scientific data regarding the situation on Earth right now and the situation in which our society is in nowadays. The other thing that comes out of this, well, there are actually a lot of things is what we have to do for ourselves, because we are just a huge number of members of one huge family of human beings. And everything we do for ourselves, we also do for each other and for everyone else. That's what gave me joy. I didn't know about this society before, about the creative society. I didn't have this knowledge And I was very happy that there is already a significant, very substantial number of people who are already directly involved in maintaining the knowledge in order to save this humanity that we represent and for the future of our descendants. This was very important for me because it's already a point of action, not just some kind of programming, but real action. I really liked that and I became interested right away. As for the topic of hunger and other things, there is a lot to say about that. For instance, I can also talk about a situation that, from my point of view, can be very, very easily resolved, practically without technology, but through learning. For example, germinating seeds, which can be done with a little water, sunlight, and a minimal amount of time. Moreover, in terms of nutrition, sprouted grains also contain the greatest amount of everything: enzymes, vitamins, and everything else the body needs in order to remain healthy and active. I think that's the main thing I can say at the moment. Thank you.
One of the constraints that Michal was mentioning that prevent us from implementation of vertical farms and modern technologies is the legal aspect, right? And I know, Lissette, you are a legal specialist. Can you maybe provide us your view on the rigorousness of the current laws? And we can face it actually not only in this field, but in all of the fields of our daily lives, that most of the acts are not understandable and do not really cover implementation of modern technologies and addressing the issues that we have got today. So what we as society can do to improve this?
Well, first of all, I think it's the way the system is in place now is very, I'm trying to think of a word, unjust, because the allocations for example, the communities who are of a lower income, they don't have the same opportunities. So everything, they have to go through different regulations just to qualify for the bare minimum. So that in itself, they have to fight for basic needs. So how it could improve is, once again, through our unity, because honestly, when I see the public that I work with, and they don't have enough for 1 month's worth of basic food, knowingly, based on what I've learned here, that it is possible for all of us to have sufficient. It's just a matter of being able to inform everybody. You know what I mean? I don't know how to properly say it now, maybe, but it's just a matter of being able to inform and educate the people at different levels, not just, those of folks that are well versed in all nature, everything that has to do with what's going on in all the situations with the earth, but everybody in different levels. I don't know, not just doctors, not just normal people, but everybody. So there's got to be a way to simplify the message, I think. So that would help, because I watched the whole forum, all 12 hours, and because I was interested. However, for the vast majority, I think what would help is if there was a simple way to convey the message to the general public in a summary, so they could at least, have a little light go off, like, what is this about? that would spread the message, not just for the folks of us who are interested, but just for the general public. I think that would be a step in the right direction. I'm sorry if I didn't say it right.
Thank you so much. Yes, Lissette, that's actually a brilliant idea. And I want to reach out to all our viewers and all the participants and to say that you shouldn't wait for somebody else to come up with this brilliant summary. If you watch the forum, you know that something can be tweaked, something can be adjusted. You can do it. You can write an article in the way you can do your proposal, because it's all done by people. If you watch the previous ones and you see these ones, you can see there is a progress. Our volunteers are constantly checking what resonates with people, how to convey the message in the most digestible and short form for the people to actually understand it. Please go ahead.
Kind of like a trailer, when you go to the movies, you don't know what movie you watch, right? But if you see the trailer somewhere, like a little summary of what the 12 hours are about, like thrown out there. So in a way that people could just like, oh, that's what that's about, as opposed to how many people that were actually willing to invest 12 hours of their day to watch, So if we could summarize it and make it attractive to just to wake up their curiosity.
Absolutely. Let's brainstorm it all together. Let's see what kind of points you find the most significant over there. And Michal, please, do you have suggestions as well?
Yes, Lissette said the real issue, which we have to find a solution. And I want to point that we try to make some progress with a project called Hunger Fighters, and the idea was to put aquaponic system into basic schools for children, and let the children to grow up their own vegetables and fish. And the idea is that the children will learn how to grow food, and if they left the school, so they have a knowledge. So it's not about putting them technology or money or anything else. We have to put them knowledge. And if they have a knowledge, they can build their own system on their gardens and everywhere they will go in the future. So I think this is the right way. And we start with it, and we're trying to make a progress globally.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Michal. It all comes with making idea popular. Like, if you think about this, the green energy idea, first of all, we were convinced that there is a problem of CO2 that we have to find, and then we have a solution. Okay, now we're in a similar situation, but in a different way. The problem is much more serious and much more real, and the solution is also much more complex. It has many layers, it has multiple things to be fixed, but the main thing is that it's all can be done within the legal framework of each country, simply by making the idea popular that human life is above money, above profit, above anything else, and we can build a self-governing society where people decide for themselves where they want to allocate money. Because as also Michal just said, that there are problems with legislation. There are always some politicians who care too much about themselves and too little about the real problems. They want to get re-elected instead of actually bring the change, and we cannot blame them for that, because they work in the existing system. The system itself creates conditions for them to act certain way, because they have to worry for the things that are important for them as as an individual in the system. But again, at the same time, we see that there is a big demand from people to actually work a different way. And we see technologies progressing really fast, and the legal laws usually not picking up too fast. So how do we create conditions where people can demand for themselves what exactly they like? Let's take, for example, vertical farming. We know that there are many problems, but if only people understand how important it is for their survival and for their safety to build these technologies, how do you think that would change people's request for this to be implemented? And maybe also just throwing an idea out there. We know that green energy was super inefficient and very expensive, but by using extra taxation on regular electricity, by allocating these taxes, creating subsidies, they were able to match the price and make us buy super expensive energy from so-called renewables. Maybe something similar could be done with vertical farming if only people knew how important it is. And when we talk about importance, what are the main advantages of the vertical farming, Michal?
Okay, main advantages is you use more or less room. So if you want to produce some amount of fresh vegetables, so if you use the agriculture on the field, so you need a lot of space. But because of vertical farming, vertical means you can go up and you can grow maybe 10 times, 12 times more from 1 square meter. This is one advantage. Second advantage is that you drive the condition. So it means your plants doesn't suffer the lack of sunlight during the cloudy days or some temperatures, inconvenience. So you can drive all these conditions, and the growth of the plants are 20-30% better. Last but not least is the nutritions. If you use organic fertilizers, you can have very, very clean and very, very healthy vegetables. If you use artificial fertilizers, it could be worse or it's not so good, but you can do it the right way and you can do it bad way. As always, as everything. So I think this is the main advantage. I absolutely forgot something, but I think this is the best one. And I want to tell one short story. For example, we are talking about urban farming, and it means growing vegetables or fishes, it doesn't matter. Or it's about food production in the center of cities, in the well-developed areas with a lot of buildings. And every buildings have the roof. And on the roof you can put greenhouse, and you can grow food on the roofs, and it will help with, for example, heating of the cities and so on. And if you can imagine, there is a place on this planet, it's in the southwest China or southeast China, where on the 100 kilometers circle lives about 150 million people. And it's Macau, Hong Kong, Shenzhen, and Guangdong area. And they are not able to bring enough food for these people from the agricultural areas. So they have to grow their food in like a urban farming. So they have to, and this is, for me, this is the message that if the population of this planet will grow, so this problem will spread. And if our cities will be bigger and bigger, we have to grow our food in these cities. So for me, it's only one way how to solve this problem, and it's vertical farming.
This is actually a very good point, because indeed we need to solve the problems ahead of coming, right? So that's why we are doing all of this informing about the possibilities, about the technologies that we can implement in creative society, because one of the other problems and one of the constraints that technology are not developed that much is because all of us are dependent on monthly income just to survive, right? And if we introduced all of these technologies, robots, AI, and, I've already seen autonomous farms where robots take care about everything. And this will cause that people will lose their job. So that's why it's so essential to have a broader look and change the format of society so that all of these technologies can be implemented. And there's a saying that one time see is more than 100 times here. And the volunteers of Creative Society have prepared a wonderful video for the International Forum. And I would like to invite everyone to watch it now.
Today, we can easily solve the problem of hunger using technologies that already exist. One remarkable example is vertical farms. The main differences between vertical farms and traditional greenhouse facilities are that they allow for growing on multiple levels and in a fully controlled indoor environment. Several technologies are used in vertical farms. 1. Hydroponics, growing plants in an artificial environment without soil. 2. Aeroponics, growing in an airy environment without soil. 3. Aquaponics, a technology that combines hydroponics and aquaculture, fish farming. So, we see that the soil is not used. There are no insects. There is no need to use pesticides. The products are ecologically clean. It is a closed ecosystem. It is not harmful to the environment. Its efficiency speaks for itself. The Mirai Core vertical farm in Japan is one of the largest city farms on the planet. It requires 98% less water than a conventional farm, and it is 50 to 100 times more productive. An American farm called Aero Farms yields up to 26 harvests a year and produces 390 times more food per square meter than field farming. Aero Farms now grows more than 550 different varieties of fruits and vegetables. To date, the NASA Center is conducting practical developmental work on growing wheat to provide for humans in space. Researchers at Stanford University have calculated that wheat grown in an indoor 10-layer vertical farm can produce up to 660 times higher yields than modern farming methods provide.
Yes, we actually published a paper in 2020 on wheat production in vertical farm. So you could really produce a lot of food and 365 days a year, not just during the season. And it's totally independent of climate, but it has a cost. That means that every year you need to spend about $15 million in electricity, which is quite a significant amount of money. Now, if you remove the energy challenge, it's great because people can have food.
And we will solve the electricity problem in the first year of the transition period to the Creative Society, thanks to the gradual introduction of fuel-free energy generators, the technology which already exists nowadays. Another amazing opportunity that vertical farms offer is growing vegetables anywhere on the planet. One of such examples is Antarctica.
I'm standing here in our Antarctic greenhouse from the Eden ISS project, and today I will give you a quick look around. As you can see here, I'm surrounded by plants. To my left side we have tomato plants, behind that are cucumber plants. To my right side we have here 4 different types of lettuce.
Thus, we see that vertical farms are greatly expanding our possibilities in food production, but this is far from the limit. Nowadays, projects are being developed for complete ecosystems capable of growing not only fruits and vegetables, but even raising fish and poultry. French architect Pierre Sartou has proposed a vertical farm of mixed functions, Tour Vivant, living tower in which housing, farms, leisure facilities, restaurants, and shops can be located. The concept of the Tour Vivant Eco Tower is to combine hydroponics production and housing in an urban environment. The 30-story pyramid farm, designed by Dixon Despommier, is a closed-loop agricultural ecosystem in which almost every element of the agricultural agricultural process, including water and nutrients, is recirculated. It will utilize only 5% of the space of a traditional farm. One such farm will produce a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, fish and poultry, and feed about 50,000 people annually. These few technologies alone show that once a transition from the consumerist format to the creative one starts, the problem of hunger will be solved instantly. By bringing together scientific potential, the best developments and resources, cross-functional, multi-purpose farms will be built within the first year of the transition period to the creative society. In such facilities, in addition to plant cultivation, there will also be fish, livestock, and poultry farms in one building. The first floor is a fish farm. The second and third floors are allocated to livestock farming. The upper floors are for agricultural products, plants, berries, fruits, and vegetables. We can create such farms even in areas where nothing grows and the land is not suitable for human habitation. We will turn the Sahara Desert into the most fertile area on Earth. Fresh products without chemical treatment or pesticides will be on your table at any time of the year, anywhere in the world.
Yes, this video clearly shows that all the technologies that could help us solve the hunger problem are already in place, and it's on us to start using it. I would like to ask Viktoria, could you provide us your impressions of this video? And I know you live in Spain, and as we could see that there were times of droughts, there were times of floods, etc. And so do you think that these new technologies could help improve the quality of nourishment of the people?
Of course, everything that was shown in the video, everything that was said is very important and obviously needs to be developed at full pace. But let me back to what I was talking about a few minutes ago. It doesn't require any technology, and it can be used within the family. It doesn't require large premises or anything else. For starters, right now, there is also technology, of course, but we can also use other possibilities to grow plants. I'm going back to suggest the method of growing sprouts, that is, seeds. Even when a seed germinates, it contains many times more proteins and all the important nutrients for humans. But 300, 500 times more. And it doesn't require any special equipment. It can even be done on plates or in any jar, and it can be learned very easily. Moreover, it can be taught in schools so that people can use a similar method to prepare salads to satisfy the constant need we have every day for all nutrients. It's simple, and you don't need legislation. You don't need anything to do that. We can start this way, and in doing so, we can create everything else that has been mentioned here. Of course, this is very important, right? But we could start that even yesterday. For example, I only have a small rack at home, and I eat from it all the time. Every day, I use the sprouts partly in salads or simply eat them. They taste good and give me strength and everything I need to keep myself fit and energetic. I mean, I'm actually 82 years old, and I'm here with you, so glad I met you. I hope I can still do more for humanity and our society. But the truth is that we often create something complicated, then wait to implement it and invest our attention. But we can start solving this problem in Africa, anywhere, can't we? Where there is some water, some seeds and some light. You don't need a big space and you don't need a lot of knowledge. If you educate people or even children, you can start solving many problems of hunger or malnutrition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Viktoria. Yes, absolutely. And I think it's normal for the people to stay very active. And, it should be a new normal. We shouldn't think that, people at certain age just stop being functional for the society. It should be normalized to stay healthy. And again, best healthcare is preventative healthcare. So if we make sure that our people are healthy, we can do it. And I saw the expression on Michal's face when he was watching, and he was so excited. I want to ask you, Michal, as a specialist, as a person who dedicated the life to this technologies, what do you think? What's your expert opinion on the video that we just saw?
We saw very nice video with the most advanced technology, I think. For example, NASA or ESA in Europe, they both, they try to find solution how to close every loop in food production, because you cannot go to the space and take back of food for 10 years. It's not possible. So you have to find a way. And this is exactly the technology which will help. I think it's the only technology you can use. But I have 2 points to the video, and I want to add some other perspective. We see the technology, which is super cool and super advanced. But I think this concept is not only for rich countries. We can use this concept in poor countries too, because if you have, for example, some kind of materials, natural materials, for example, oh my God, I forget in English. It doesn't matter. So you can build such a farm from the wood, for example. It's possible, and you can use this concept in every day and in poor country. It's possible, and I think this is the message which was missing in this video. And second point is that we don't need to grow only food here. It's very interesting. We have we have lack of knowledge of, for example, algae, for example, the water plants. It can contain a lot of very specific substances for human body. You can grow drugs, for example, or something for pharmaceutic use, or something like that. So this is the second point I was missing in this video, and it's very interesting. So that's my add-on to video.
Thank you very much. This is very, this is very interesting how an expert looks at an area, and we can clearly see that by collaboration, by cooperation from various fields, we can add value to each other. And I really liked the comment that this technology should not only be provided to someone traveling to space, but first we should use it and tackle the food problem all around the world. And I was actually very touched by a speech on the Global Forum that said that throughout the last 10 years, the main UN agency, World Food Program, has raised more than 79.8 billion US dollars. Can you imagine for this money? I just can't imagine. I think that by utilizing all of these technologies, all of the hunger could be wiped out from the planet. And what can we see instead? The UN already says that there will be more hungry people in the coming years. So it turns out that instead of solving this problem by increasing budget, it only becomes major. And I also liked the idea of Viktoria that we should kind of evangelize the young generation. So instead of they thinking that the vegetable grows in the supermarkets, we should organize, projects to teach the young generation that there are these technologies and that we can really be self-sufficient and there really can be enough food for everyone. But in order to do this, we need obviously to inform people. So my next question would be that, Lissette, how would you kind of recommend to go on and motivate people to watch the forum, to start analyzing the information instead of just consume the already ready-made information in the public media?
Well, first of all, I think the most important things, because I read comments when you on the lives, and everybody right away, they have, I don't know if it's a defense mechanism that everybody has. Oh, it's communist. Oh, is this? Oh, is that? So I believe if from the beginning you open up, no, this is not this. This is not communist. This is not this. This is not that, and invite them to be open-minded. Like before they could try to put up a wall, let them know right from the beginning, this is not what you think it is. Just be open-minded too. And then take the best parts of every one of those sections and summarize it into something, because when I see a lot of the videos, oh yeah, that's good too. Oh, I remember, where was that part? Where was that in the 12 hours? If we could kind of make a condensed version of the best. So first of all, you kind of want to open up the wall, say, it's okay. It's nothing bad. Don't be afraid. People are, all their lives, we've been accustomed to see the world in a certain way. So if you slowly start peeling away the different layers of protective survival mechanisms that we developed, say it's okay. It's almost like we're trying to have people soften their hearts. Society nowadays is like so many negative things going on. So everybody's defensive. So if we approach it in a way where you want to say, it's okay, it's nothing bad, open your eyes to this. This can be a possibility. So slowly introduce them to putting down their guard and then say, this is the best part of what we could potentially have. Just educated. We have to unlearn of how we lived all of our lives.
Thank you, Lissette, for your comments. Yeah, I was watching them too. And it was hilarious because sometimes the people's attention is being drawn completely sideways. And one of the most popular topics discussing if the speakers are real or if they are made up artificial intelligence. Well, guys, I want to sincerely tell you, we are artificial intelligence, all of us here. because ideas that we put out there to build a fair society, they are artificial for the consumeristic format of living. In today's world, it's only money, 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 and nobody cares about humanity anymore. So the ideas that we put out there, they might sound artificial to you, but there are very many people who join in it, and with each individual we have more and more suggestions how to put it in a nice way, how to present information. And so is here. We have beautiful suggestions here, and I would invite Michal to participate in our next forum in preparation and share your experience. And this is how we build it, like block by block, and I'm sure that you can do so as well, and so is each one of our viewers. I invite all of you to watch the Global Crisis, Our Survival is in Unity forum, which is available online on all streaming platforms in 150 languages. And I'm sure you're going to have a lot of suggestions as well. So please submit them on creativesociety.com, the red button in the top right corner called Join Us. You can leave in the comment section over there all your suggestions and participate in preparation of the next forum. And let us know the ways you would like to inform people about changing the format of living from consumeristic into the one where human life is the top value. And it doesn't matter that it doesn't mean that we're going to consume less or limit ourselves. No, it's that we're going to stop consuming human lives and human time for practically making it go to waste as it is right now. And today it has been amazing roundtable. I think this one is a really pleasure to be here with you. And before we end, I would like to also have all of us to say a few words about the Creative Society itself. Why do you think this project is important in your opinion, and how would you encourage our viewers? What would be your message for the viewers about the Creative Society? And I would like to start with Viktoria, just a short message in a few sentences to encourage our viewers, to spark the interest in them. How would you explain it? Viktoria, please go ahead.
Bueno. The
most motivating thing, from my point of view, is that we all have a lot of people whom we love and know, starting with our family. Obviously, the main thing we want for these people, starting with ourselves, is so that everyone has an opportunity for a prosperous, fair and dignified future. Therefore, now, seeing the way things are developing on the planet and in our society, with so many conflicts and unresolved issues, it's obvious that all this should be a serious motivation for us to solve all issues in the best and fastest possible way, so that we can have a future. I think the point is that people find out the forum lasts 12 hours, while a lot of people work and so on, and people are still not quite aware of the problems happening to the planet and to each of us. So a lot of young people fail to find the time and say, no, 12 hours, where am I going to find so much time? Given what we have learned at the forum and will learn at subsequent forums and other events, we need to act for people who don't have much time or who don't understand how important it is to find time and watch the forum, because that's the most important thing. That's why maybe it's possible to make several parts, several videos, which can go one after another, but not more than 1 hour. That's the maximum, not more than 1 hour, so that people can discover this information. And this way they understand that their participation is not just an invitation, it's a necessity. because we often demand rights, but we also have many duties. And the biggest duty we have towards those who will live after us is to leave them a society which is not a society of consumers, but a society of humans. For humanity, I think so.
This was really inspiring. And I would just like to make one small comment, and this is that because many people consider creative society as a project of a group of people who kind of use the scientists and authorities, or misuse the scientists of authorities just to, let's say, present themselves. And this is absolute myth, because creative society is an opportunity. It's, let's say, an opportunity for all of us to start living in a different way than we live now, in a constant struggle, in a constant, let's say, chasing just to cover the basic needs. And this is the project of people who understood that we no longer should rely on anyone, on the organizations, governments, on anyone, because I think that they have time enough to prove that they can do something. But if we look back for, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years, what they have done. And I think, the deeds, they speak for themselves. And so we need to use this chance and create the demand from the bottom, because at the end of the day, creative society is a result of millions of interviews who expressed their opinion in what world they would like to live. And whether or not we can live in this world depends on every single person. And I would really like to thank all of our guests today, because by participating here in this international discussion, this is already your input to bringing us closer to a society that's worth of naming human. And I would also like to ask Lissette, so what would be your final words to our audience?
My final words would be, we have to open your mind, and this is our responsibility. This is your life. This is the life of your children, of your children's children. Just before putting up a wall, give it a chance to educate yourself in the actual situation that our world is in. Before just saying no to it, be open-minded, and try to unlearn the way you've lived and open your heart to new opportunities to live in a better society.
Thank you. And I think one of the things why people don't get that much knowledge about the very same vertical forms is because they don't understand the challenges that our humanity is facing. And we hear on the news all the time that this and that goes expensive, and we might have hunger, we might have that. And people, they're like, this guy's probably, they're going to figure something out, they're going to take care of us. But when we seen like third of Pakistan went underwater, right? If you don't put it into the global picture of what's going on with everything else in the world, you might think that just one event, but this is happening almost everywhere. We're seeing climatic changes where we're not going to be able to get the same food from the same fields. And it's very inefficient to use the land the way we use it right now. And it's a complex issue. We have many people in the world who live in the seismic active zones and will become refugees very soon. And they're going to have to relocate millions, if not billions of people. And we have to think now, how do we provide food for everyone and shelter in the nearest future? And we're talking years from now. So if as a society, we don't develop these technologies, we don't build these vertical forms by now, the challenges we're going to see, we remember from 2 years ago what happened when the shelves go empty in the stores and people fighting each other for toilet paper. That was toilet paper, guys. That wasn't even food. Now imagine how people gonna behave when shelves gonna be empty and there is no food. That's why not to get to those scenarios, of really dark and bad scenarios, we have to think about it now when we can approach it from positive perspective. We can say, let's join creative society, create request, develop these technologies and build a really bright future that we are excited about. Kind of like we're excited today talking about these technologies. And Michal, I don't know if you've seen the whole conference. Did you watch it or did you watch it partially? And what would be your feedback? And what are your thoughts about the creative society and your message to our viewers?
Yes, I saw part of the videos, not all of 12 hours. And you mentioned a lot of problems, but I have to say, from my perspective, this is the small problems. Let's say for me, the biggest problem, and with the mathematical, it's mathematically absolutely going to be great problem on this planet, is that it's very simple, that 3 billion people on this planet depend on wild caught fish food or seafood. And the population of fishes in our oceans and seas are completely devastating or is devastated at all and never be renewed. So it means 3 billion people will be in hunger when this depletion come to an end. And if we don't unite now, and if we don't act now, so there will be 3 billion people in hunger and will be fighting for food. And that's, for me, it's really, I don't want to live in this world. So I'm going to do something. And I'm going to force people around me to do something. And that's why I am here with you. And I thank you very much that you are here and all the listeners are listening. And please, let's make something happen with this.
Thanks very much. And these were our today's guests, Viktoria, Lissette, and Michal, who decided to act, who decided not to remain passive, and who decided to contribute to the improvement of our world by their deeds, for which I'm really thankful. And if you are not indifferent, our dear viewers, to what's going on around us, and if you understood that we need to start acting, please watch the conference, follow us on all the social media, on Twitter, or Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, and share the information about Creative Society, because this is the way how we can, in a peaceful way, in accordance with legislation, change this world and make it a better place. I would like to thank everyone for watching us. Thank you, Tali, for co-hosting. Thank you all dear guests, and see you in one of the next international discussions. Thank you.
Thank you.